What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneakers podcast. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, my two friends. First off, Mr. Matt Welty.
It's a scorcher outside today.
Yeah, very hot. That's why we all wore shorts. And to my left, Mr. Brendan Dunne.
I do have shorts on.
This is one of your 3 shorts wears of the year?
I usually allot myself 5 in a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you only 3 to 5 times a year, but he pointed that out.
Try and minimize it. And especially, I feel like every time I come on here, you guys are wearing shorts. So then I especially can't wear shorts because then we're all wearing shorts.
What's wrong with that?
You know, it's just like when you step out with a couple friends and you all have the same tote bag and you all have the same general look of your outfit.
I don't think that shorts fall into that category.
I can tell because you always come on here wearing shorts.
All right.
It's summer. I'm not wearing pants.
I thought we were a unit. I thought I would love to wear the same tote
Well,
bag.
here we're
I would
all-
love to wear shorts together.
We're all locked in. We're wearing shorts together right now.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
What's your disdain for shorts?
I feel like as a 33-year-old man, I don't need to be out here wearing
Really?
shorts too often.
Dude, it's like 87 degrees in New York City right now.
Are you
Like,
skipping leg day, though?
know,
Is that
right?
the real reason? Are you skipping leg day? Or?
I don't know if I've ever had a leg day.
Okay. Me either.
Still run the world, the
Me
sneaker
either.
world at least.
Wow, you heard that? The devil's in the details. Did you hear that? Pay attention. He's quick. I
Boy.
heard it.
Listen, I feel like, Joe, you've been skipping the workouts a little bit because you guys were in here doing yoga on the floor yesterday in the office.
Well,
I wish I took some photos, but out of respect for my coworkers, I did not. But Matt Welty and Joe La Puma were on their hands and knees in the middle of the complex office doing, what was it, downward dog, child's pose? What were you guys
Child's
the
pose.
cobra? Was the cobra involved?
there was a cobra involved.
What's the cobra?
That's like when you...
I thought that was your specialty move or
That's
something.
when you lay on your stomach and you kind of like...
Yeah.
Invert your
The
back up.
easier of the two that you tried to teach me yesterday.
And how did it go for you, Joe?
The first one I was struggling with, but I did it at home.
Yeah.
And,
How
like,
did he
I
do,
did it on
Welty?
my own.
How would you grade his performance? Because he's saying he did pretty well.
No, I didn't say I did pretty well.
He said he had issues trying to get into the first pose, but the second one worked out.
Yeah.
And do
And-
you agree with that assessment?
Yeah.
Okay. He also took a subliminal out because he
Yes.
did a
That
few
was not a
hours later.
subliminal.
Yes.
That was
Because
not
saw
a,
that.
I complained about the lower back,
I'll bring
the
it up.
lower back
I'll
pain.
find
Don't
it.
put the.
It was not a subliminal though.
Let me look
Yeah,
at
It was
this.
not. It was
Let me
not a
look at
subliminal
this.
at all.
I
Okay.
also think
This was after you guys were doing
This had nothing to do
yoga
with that.
in the
Yeah,
office.
and
This was not a subliminal. This was just a general feeling.
well, did it
Okay, so y'all were stretching on the floor, and
because
then
I said I'm suffering from lower back pain. He
a
gave me
few
great
hours
tips.
later,
Great tips.
This had
and then-
nothing to do with any of that.
Matt Welty tweeted, "People always ask you what you do to get in shape, and then when you tell them what you did, they don't want to do it."
That's 100% true, man. It's
Okay.
like it's
It doesn't have anything to do with Joe La Puma.
no, not at all. Not
Fist
like
bump.
literally. Like, I'm
They
not
bumped their
saying
fist.
that to whatever. You get so many people that like send you DMs and they're like, "Oh man, I want to get like you."
Isn't that like?
And it's cool. And then like, no,
How
but then
many-
you give them the advice,
Yeah.
and then they're like, "Oh man, I didn't want to do that."
They
I'm
tell
like-
you that?
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like,
They don't want to be doing deadlifts at 6:30 in Jersey City.
it has nothing to do with that. I just try to break it down to the simplest like formula possible, but they just don't. People either you do the work or you don't.
Well,
Joe, do the work.
I will, and I also learned the other one that I was struggling
does your
with
back
yesterday. Yeah, back's a little bit better today.
Good.
Good.
So
That's all we want.
yeah, baby
That's what I'm trying to
steps.
help with. Yeah.
I got
steps.
to admit, I'm a little sore because I was go-karting this weekend in Jersey City.
Did you get rear-ended?
It takes a little bit of a toll on you. I was in a couple dust-ups
Yeah,
on the
see-
track. It's more demanding than I thought physically, like trying to
yeah,
steer.
turning into the corners.
You
have
went
really,
to a
like,
very
grip it.
serious one though.
Yeah, RPM Raceway in Jersey City.
Okay, so I went to one in Staten Island recently. Mm-hmm. Wasn't like that because no bumping. I'm not into the whole.
You were just into like actual like
Yeah.
amusement park
Recreational.
go-kart sort of.
No,
Yeah.
This guy
there's nothing
thinks-
recreational about this.
Yeah,
we had the
thought he
shiesties on.
He thought it was Lewis versus Max a couple rounds out there, a couple laps
okay,
out there.
breaking out the references.
And also, the ones that I go to, you even graze another go-kart, they
shut
shut
it
you
down,
down.
yeah.
So wait,
they waved a couple flags on us for sure. There were some incidents.
you won the gold medal, though. I saw on your Instagram.
There
Not a
was
lot of people
no, I
saw the
didn't.
Instagram, but I saw it.
Hold on, hold on. Let's be upfront. It was a silver medal. My brother won. the
Oh.
race.
Oh, you had said your younger brother beat you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he took advantage of a virtual safety car toward the end there. If the FIA was involved, I feel like maybe he would have got a little 5-second penalty. But
Let's dispute it.
yeah, we might have to bring it to the stewards.
Where was this place, though?
This was in Jersey City, and I was disappointed that I didn't see Welty outside because we were spinning a couple blocks. No,
But he spun the block on you?
No.
we were driving around Jersey City a little bit. We went to White Manor, and I didn't see Welty anywhere. I thought I was just going to see him in the streets with a kettlebell getting busy. But
Just on a throne in the streets?
I was outside Sunday in Jersey City.
Really?
I didn't see you.
What were you
Okay.
doing?
Jersey City is 11 miles long. Like, what do you want me to say?
Well, we thought you were the mayor.
I just wanted to. I don't know.
Did they have batting cages or it's strictly go-kart? Because
It's about the go-karts.
Okay, because when I usually go to these places, they have an assortment, batting cages.
No, like Welty
mini
said,
golf,
this is not an amusement park type of situation.
What speed are you hitting the ball off of at the batting cages?
medium.
I don't think I would try it.
Medium.
I would be too scared to.
I actually
honestly.
I have pictures out. We'll put it
Yeah?
on. Yeah.
Cranking them?
Listen,
Little League World Series, Joe?
like my
I feel like you were getting shelled on the mound.
like my basketball stat line, all the fundamentals right. I'm not going to hit 20 home runs, but you need an RBI single.
Mm-hmm.
You need an RBI single. I'm your guy.
What position did you play in Little League?
Shortstop. And I was the leadoff batter for a while. Then as the years progressed, my hitting
Big bunt
degressed.
Big bunt
digressed. Wait,
guy? You big bunt guy?
so this is true. This is true. And I think I mentioned it to you. That's why
No,
you
I'm
brought
not-
it up.
no, I'm not.
So there was a time where I was like one of the fastest in the league, and I was the leadoff hitter, and the little league infielders were not great in terms
So
of.
you drop a
They
little.
were incredibly capable.
I bunted a home run once.
No.
No, I never knew
bunted
this.
a home
That's
run once.
impossible.
I bunted.
Listen, I know so
it's
little
not
about
impossible.
baseball, but I know that's not possible.
I bunted a home run once. Here's why. There was multiple errors made. There was multiple
So
errors.
that
we're
doesn't
fumbling the
count as a
ball.
home run.
I know it doesn't.
Wait, it doesn't
technically-
count?
No,
No,
because
because-
it's like it'll be like a single with 3 errors, but we
Yeah.
counted it as a home run because
Oh,
I
that's how
bunted.
baseball stats work.
Yeah.
If there's errors involved,
Yes.
it's not.
It's a technicality. It's like if you hit a triple and then they try to throw it to home and he misses, it's a triple with the error.
Also,
wow.
also, shouts to Lou Squiliciati. Okay, Lou Squiliciati, R.I.P. One of my baseball managers when I was young. As my hitting digressed, my fielding became better,
Really?
and I had a nickname.
You were a more well-rounded
Joey
player.
the Glove. This is all facts. Drew Squiliciati, who I talked to from Bayshore,
Mm-hmm.
will co-sign Joey the Glove. Put me in right field, just snatching balls out of the air. Sometimes
Yeah,
I
like
would
a Venus
run all the way
flytrap
from
out
right
there.
field to center
They
field
never
and
caught you.
snatch it. I got it. I got it. You call him out of the way, Joey the Glove. That was
Young
one of my
Odell.
nicknames.
They never-
Before JLP, it was Joey the
They
Glove.
never caught you with some pine tar?
No,
We might have to bring back Joey the Glove.
these are all facts, guys.
Okay. One thing I want to mention, because I appreciate you bringing them up, is you're right. Not a lot of people saw the IG post I had, the recap of the go-karting race. My most dismal stats in a number of years in terms of engagement on an Instagram.
I saw you broke
Post.
out the F1 merch.
Yeah, my friend got me a McLaren jersey.
Can we talk about the prices on F1 merch?
Is it high?
Wasn't there like at the Miami Grand Prix there was like that kind of virally photo that
Oh,
went
right.
where I don't want to put the numbers out there, but it seemed like the hats were like $100 or
Yeah,
something like that, and
yeah.
the polos were like $200 or something like that.
Listen though, going back to his IG, silver medal on the track,
Way below a bronze in terms of engagement.
not ranked on the algorithm.
And this is important. So
Okay.
all the thousands of people
Yeah.
listening to this, watching this, please go juice the stats on that IG post. We can't afford to be out here getting 2,000
know?
likes.
This guy, I had to calm him down. He was saying the engagement. You almost had to put the others. Why do you just put like JLP and others? You know you can do that.
Turn the likes on.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, that's the shadiest thing.
I've done
Yeah.
it once.
No, when you see someone who's like tries to fancy themselves as like a influencer or whatever, where like that's their whole like IG slant of what they're.
a lot of people
Not me.
just take.
Oh
take
no,
them
no,
off.
but like that's
Yeah.
what their whole account's
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're not attached to anything. They're just
And you
trying
did the
to.
one promo post and you put it on. You
No,
turned the
no.
likes
When,
off.
no, when their IG used to be popping, and then you
Oh.
scroll down, and for like the past year, they've had likes off on all of their photos.
Mm.
But speaking of bronze, or maybe gold, Louis Vuitton Air Force One news last night.
You're getting closer. You know
Am
when
I?
you're a kid
It's like the Easter egg hunt.
and listen.
It's on the right track.
Nope, you say warmer, warmer.
Yeah,
cold,
right.
Cold, cold. Brooklyn you visited, they weren't for sale there. I would have said cold. Last night, you're getting warmer.
Okay.
You're getting warmer.
Okay, Louis Vuitton, Nike Air Force One. Looks like they're releasing online.
Yes.
Those first 9 colorways are listed on there. Coming soon on there. I reached out to all the
And there
LV
was-
PR people. No info yet.
I tried
There
to
was
add-
some that
I tried
said
to add to
online
cart.
exclusive, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Like some of the colors that we hadn't seen yet said online exclusive, but I think
Yeah.
some of the ones that we had seen.
Right. The
didn't.
people have already gotten.
Yeah, because they can't say it's online exclusive.
Okay.
So there was that gold pair, right?
Yeah, those are. I love those.
Can we divulge a little bit of information that you shared with us last night about what you asked out of a Louis Vuitton PR person that you got shut?
I mean, I guess so. Since he said, "Can
Well,
we divulge?"
we haven't said it yet, but you said
I
you
definitely
got
asked.
ghosted.
I definitely asked, like, "Can I buy these?" And
I definitely tried
somebody
to add
at
the cart,
Louis
and
Vuitton,
it wasn't even a.
They ignored me.
or you had said it. Can media buy these shoes?
What, online?
Just in general.
Oh, but yeah, I was trying to add to cart. It was not even a add to cart aspect to it. It was just the thing. I
So
think you're
close,
getting
but
closer.
so okay. Well, okay. Thank you.
Let me ask you something. I saw our friend PG Nose needs a Carbone reservation. What if I offer him a
The
Carbone
trade?
reservation
Straight up?
for your Air Force One?
I would.
That's a crazy.
I would love
I
if
know.
you would do me that favor.
Kidding. I'm kidding. It's
That's
just
a
for
crazy
humor.
trade.
Let's do it.
He wouldn't do it. What
Do you
if
feel-
what
do
if
you
I
feel-
throw in the
Oh no, sorry.
throw in the veal parm?
On the house.
Do you feel like when you asked for the Louis Vuitton Air Force
He
Ones,
said, "Can we divulge it?"
I didn't even
No,
see
no.
this. I missed this. I must have been sleeping.
would you feel like when you asked for the Louis Vuitton when you hold on?
Asked to buy them.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Do you feel like you were just throwing a shot in the dark doing it, or do you feel like you had a chance and maybe you overshot like what you thought was a reality?
Shot in the dark.
Okay.
A shoe like that, I just felt like everybody who has any type of connection, anybody is going to ask, and 99% of those people have more clout, more money, and more influence than me. So I feel like I appreciate you looking a little incredulous at that. More money, at least. So I felt like it wasn't going to happen, but I had to, if it's a
Shoot or
1 in
shoot?
100 chance, yeah,
Question. As
it might have been more of a bunt.
still gets you to home
Let's see.
place sometime.
Just hold
Home
on.
base. As the weeks go on,
Mm-hmm.
does your want for the shoe go down, or you're still? Because I feel like
I
in
still
my
want it pretty bad, but I
Okay.
felt like I had arrived at the conclusion that I wasn't going to get
kind
it.
of like the time heals the
Yeah.
want.
Here's the thing with that shoe though, is like now that it's like existed in the ecosystem or a little bit, when you first saw that shoe, you're like, I want a pair of these Louis Vuitton Air Force Ones. They're Virgil's last shoe. These are awesome.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada. Right. But now that you see it, and it's like these are like the grail of all grails for a lot of people. Like people are trying to resell them for
A Carbone reservation.
they're like $8,000-$10,000
Yeah.
whatever.
Worst trade ever, by the way.
But does that like change your perception of like, man, I really like this shoe, but if I got it, I know I would never wear it because I know it's this like item at this point.
I feel like he wears a bunch of his. I feel like you
but
wear
still,
most of your
if
shoes.
it's like you have like a $10,000 shoe, it definitely changes your perception of what that shoe is.
For sure. I think it's a good question, and I think it's one of those things where in my head I tell myself I would still wear it, but it would be pretty hard to figure out what the right occasion is to bring the shoe out.
It's
But
like-
in my head, I wanted to wear it.
what about you on the podium when you
When I finally take that
avenge
gold at RPM
exactly
Raceway.
avenge the loss of your brother?
It's like
That makes it sound like he died. Avenge the loss of your brother.
The go-kart.
lost to your brother, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the example of, and I know this is a shoe, Joe, that you had written a story about, kind of like thirsting over a little bit or kind of wanted. No. Well, no, but like when it comes out, it's like when it becomes a grail level shoe, and that one being like the Red October Air Yeezy 2s, Like
Did I write about it?
Yeah, you said you missed out on it. Like when the shoe dropped on the Sunday, 2014.
Oh wait, it
You
was
were-
like that day.
Yeah. You were at brunch and you tried
Yeah.
to get the shoe, didn't get it, but you wanted the shoe in the moment.
Yeah.
But I know you wear your stuff and you're not like a resale guy, but does that change your perception of like, if you were actually be able to get it, and being that Red Octobers are like this like, $20,000 shoe or whatever, that like I have it, but now I would never wear it because
Well,
You wouldn't wear a Red October.
probably not, and that actually will. I don't know if we'll get to it right now, but that kind of I would love to have it, but I think it kind of goes into the question that we have for eBay. We'll get to, but the one that sticks out is the Mars Yard 1.0, where like very expensive shoe, and that's one that I would definitely wear. But I think some.
It's going to take you more than a reservation at Carbone to get my pair from me, just so you know.
How's that pair doing, by the way?
I thought you had sold that pair like
no,
2 years ago.
I don't think.
They floated back to me.
Okay. Do you have them in your possession?
Yeah.
Okay.
But isn't it crazy how like everyone's like, wear your shoes, but then when you actually do get like a shoe that's worth X amount of thousands of dollars, it really changes like the thought of like, man, what am I gonna do wearing this?
I think that makes sense, though. I think
If you got the Mars Yard 1.0, would you wear it? Do you think you'd have difficulty bringing it straight to feet for the toe?
I have them.
1.0?
Yes.
You slow rolled us?
what's
You
a
have the
shoe-
1.0? When did you
I
get
have
it?
them. I got it. I got it this year. I have them, and I will.
He
bring
never
it
told
out.
us that.
Oh,
This is a
I
big
think
deal.
You mentioned it. I think you did mention
Yeah.
it.
So I got those.
What?
I thought you knew.
Okay.
Was
You
there
got a
a
lot to
shoe?
learn.
Was there a shoe that you guys got?
But I'm gonna wear those. Sorry. I'm gonna wear those for.
Is there a specific guest you're waiting? Like if we get that guest on Sneaker Shopping?
Not specific, but like the thought is
Tier
there. Like I
0.
will bring those out. I'm so happy I got those.
Was there a shoe that you guys had got in the past where when you got it, you didn't know it was going to be like this like huge, big of a deal Grail shoe, and then you wore it a few times before like the shoe caught on or you knew what its real worth was, and then you're like, oh man, I already wore those 5 times, and it's like a shoe that's worth $5,000 or something.
I feel like you don't think about that type of stuff very much, right?
No,
So-
there's a lot of shoes that I really, really want, and then I get them, and I'm waiting to break them out. I feel like I do wear most of my shoes, but like, I think it goes back to what we've talked about. There's a little bit of like when you go back, and to be honest, when you only have like one wear potentially, or like.
because it's old stuff that's going to crumble.
Yeah,
on
there's
you.
like some sentimental aspect to it, and that I definitely think about. The tough part, I would say, is going on a trip if I have to shoot somewhere and bringing a shoe that you know, like just for
Fragile.
packing, that's so fragile that you can't wear anywhere else besides maybe that.
You don't want to take like your busy P Air Force Ones and like stuff them up like in a bag.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or old Air Max 95 that I know that the
little
bubbles are
shaky.
super clouded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even if, because I know you have like a little more, I would say, like grailish shoes than me and Brendan, like stuff that you've been like given over your career, you know, where you have like DJ Khaled Air Jordan 3s or like the
Yeah.
Macklemore 6s, where
Yeah.
it's like, does it ever cross your mind that like one day you're actually going to wear
All the
those?
time. All the time. I've worn the Macklemore 6s, not on camera, but
Where did you wear the Macklemore 6s to?
in my apartment. Sorry.
Does that count?
I'm just being honest.
that count?
I'm just being honest.
Did you do
Wow, very brave.
I'm just being
Did
honest.
you do the whole like NT, like what
When I
did you wear
walked
today,
around-
and like undead stocked
No,
them, and it's like you
Rudy Calderon took a flick of me in them. We'll
God
put it
bless
in
you,
here.
Rudy.
Rudy Calderon.
did they hit the pavement or not?
They haven't hit the pavement. I'm not gonna lie, but Rudy Calderon took the picture. Rudy Calderon. We went to Fire
Of?
Island Saturday night
Of?
Yao
Yao
Ming
Ming getting
fame.
stolen
Yeah,
fame,
the
yeah.
Mars Yard.
Everybody's got the fucking Mars yards now. Is that
Not
what
the
it is?
Mars yards, the
GPS.
Sorry, the
Important distinction.
what's the name
Tom
of it?
Sachs.
Yeah,
General
Tom
purpose
Sachs.
shoe.
So what's the
General purpose. shoe.
general
GPS,
Tom
yeah.
Sachs general purpose shoe?
You were at Fire
Jeez.
Island this past weekend?
Yep,
How was it?
it was good. It was good.
I was at Coney Island.
A lot of love for the Arthur Carr Solomons out here.
Can I mention?
You're
Speaking
at-
of cars, strolling through a classic car show type setup out in Coney Island, and who should I run into but our good friend Action Bronson?
Oh,
Big,
I thought you
big
were going to
sighting,
say.
big link up. Did you link up?
We chatted for a little
Okay.
bit.
I thought you
Yeah.
were going to say you ran into our other friend from Coney Island, who was actually from Coney Island.
Nems was Nems
He
again.
was there?
Not outside.
Wait, you're saying Nems wasn't
I
outside?
went to
Wow,
Coney
don't ever
Island and Nems was
disrespect
not
him.
there. I went to Jersey City and Welty was not there. Next thing you know, I'm gonna pop out in Bayshore.
I'll be there.
And, you better fucking be there.
You're going to be like standing right next to the Welcome to Bayshore sign, like waving to.
Oh, what a beautiful
be
Like,
like
him,
Brendan.
like him on the bridges in London.
Did you hit the beach at all this weekend, Welty?
I did not hit the beach.
We gotta do a beach outing. Bring out the
Jersey
I had
Shore?
I'm not
the,
that big.
the human race screen, you know.
Can we do a pool? I'm not into sand that much, really. you into the beach?
Yes.
Okay.
Joe's like afraid to like step on like the seashells, like when he steps into the water.
Oh, there's been a lot of shark sightings in Long
Do- are you-
Island,
do-
so
do you-
I'm wary.
Is that
Do you
right?
do a
Yes.
Joe? Do you do like a little jump if like a piece of seaweed like scrapes the back of the calves?
Sound like Larry June in
the
there.
calves get caressed by a
With the water
piece
shoes?
of algae.
The aqua socks on.
I would do aqua socks.
Foam runners.
Me and Larry David. Nah, I wouldn't bring the foam runners.
Go
in there.
Speedy Mormon style.
What's that?
Yep. He wears the water shoes.
No, he wears socks on the beach. He like doesn't
Oh.
go barefoot.
I didn't know that.
That is different.
Wow, we're learning a lot about each other today
Yeah.
in the complex
Want
building.
to learn more about something else?
Yes.
Shoes we have to give away.
Let's
Okay.
go.
Let's give away some sneakers. As we do every week, we are giving away a free pair of sneakers with eBay through their Authenticity Guarantee program. This is how it works. You can go to ebay.complex.com and submit a question for us to pick out and read live on the air. We will answer your question. I guess not totally live, but if we do pick your question, we're going to send you a free pair of shoes courtesy of eBay and their Authenticity Guarantee program. By the way, I think I misspoke on a recent episode. the fee situation, they do have fees again on sneaker selling. You know, for a while they had a promo going on, so I don't want to mislead people there. But eBay still a great place to buy and sell sneakers.
Also, need to be U.S. located just
That's right.
Okay, look at
for the contest.
For the giveaway.
Don't get mad at us. I know people are always in the comments saying, "Why won't you give to people internationally?" It's a
We'll let the lawyers
issue.
handle all that.
Yes.
Anyways, we're giving away a free pair of sneakers. Who we give them to?
We're giving them to Oscar Chavez, San Antonio, Texas. Oscar asks, as you guys get older, how has your taste in shoes changed? What new shoes have you started to appreciate more, and which have you fallen out of love with?
Should we show the shoes we're giving away
Yes.
before we get to the question?
I would say people think this is an unexpected shoe for me, but it's a shoe that I have said that I liked on the show, and I know Brendan Dunne tweeted at me over the weekend.
What?
Saying that you don't wear Nikes,
Which
or why do you hate
why
Nike?
do you hate Nike?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought GFY maybe.
No. Just randomly, I posted a picture of New Balance shoes and Brendan's comment, but why do you
Oh,
hate
I saw that.
But why do you hate Nike?
Stirring the pot a little bit.
Okay.
I said one of my favorite Virgil Abloh sneakers.
This was unexpected for me, I got to say.
Yeah. Off-white Air Max 90s.
And we are giving these sneakers away to, who is it again?
Oscar Chavez, San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
And he asked, yeah, how does basically, I said it right, but I'll paraphrase, how has taste in shoes changed over the years and as you get older? I think definitely for me, I think back in the day I went very all red shoes all the time. That was like, I think it's like a natural progression, but one shoe that like I
What
want
was
to
an
bring,
all-red shoe that you had?
Raging Bull 5s, Dornbecker 3s. I had the nylon Dunks. Remember those? They were part of a pack.
Yep.
The Vandal pack,
Yeah.
all red.
Highlighter red type of.
Yeah, but another pack that I remember going like really crazy for, the Nike the Nike Dunk High quilted pack. It was like an Olympic pack, all these colors. Do you remember it? It was
don't remember
patent
that.
leather. It was patent leather.
Gotta say, it sounds awful.
I'm going to show it to you. You remember these?
Vaguely.
Joe, did you have those red 11s?
The ones that was a Carmelo
Remember these?
PE for a while?
Yeah.
No, I didn't
Yes, I
have those.
remember those
Didn't
shoes.
have
Yeah.
So these quilted Olympic pack, I remember. I think I got them at Sneaker Bistro in Long Island, and it was like you couldn't tell. It was like one of those shoes where you're like, "This is going to be my favorite shoe for years," and it's just like you look back, and it's just
Boy, was I wrong.
just styles change. It's like
You're like, oh, I'm going to break these out one day.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
kill them in
yeah,
2022.
but I really love this pack back in the day. But it's like you just think never wear them today. And then on the flip side, I would say like one loud shoe recently, because I wear a lot of black obviously and tonal colors. But one shoe recently that pretty loud that I loved is the Roadster that they released in like the classic colors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I got that one.
Metallic
but-
style, looking
Yep.
like the Pharrell one.
Yeah, but I think as you get older, I don't know. For me, I guess it's like a lot of black, but it's always been like a lot of black. And
Welty, how about you?
I would say that my sneaker taste shifted to comfort very early on. So when I discovered running shoes, like retro running shoes or whatever, in like 2007, 2008, wearing like Asics Gel Light 3s and New Balance, all that stuff, I was like, I'm never looking back. Like once I put something comfortable on my foot, all of these like loud high tops that you had to like tuck your jeans in and all that like sort of situation just
Dunks and things like that.
went out the window.
Okay.
So I feel like from that,
Was it a brand thing or just a style thing? Like it
was
sounds like
just-
you're saying you shifted away from Nike.
it wasn't even because I was big into Air Max at the time
Okay.
too. So it was
you
just
were
like,
still doing all those.
yeah, it was just about comfort at the time. Like
Yeah.
once I put those things on, because I remember distinctly, and I had mentioned this recently, the whole like era of like walking around kind of stupid, where you like put on a pair of Dunks and like you don't want to crease them, so you're like walking like
duck walking.
yeah, you're like
Go
walking,
Ducks.
walking like gingerly on your feet. That's I feel
This,
like
that was Joe in the apartment with the Macklemore 6s on.
yeah. But I feel like that was my like early sort of like introduction to sneakers to some extent. That's how you acted in them, and I was like, I don't really want to like do this anymore. So I kind of like I remember like buying like a pair of New Balance or a pair of Gel Light 3s and being like, oh, I don't have to do this anymore. The toe
Really?
box.
I feel like Gel Light 3s are not that comfortable.
Really?
the split tongue.
I just feel
I mean, the split tongue makes it even just slightly footing.
maybe I'm always like sizing the wrong way on them, but I've always felt they're a little narrow and a little tight.
I feel like they're comfortable.
So now you're saying basically function over fashion?
Yeah.
Just $1,000 New Balances, right?
Yeah, but the one thing I feel like I have gotten into recently that I wasn't into as much anymore, and I guess it's more of kind of what you have on foot right now, is like that like early 2000s sort of like running shoe thing. But I feel like that's more of like a recent trend in footwear. But more so than just like being stuck in the late 80s, early 90s, I've started to embrace like
2000s era.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for me, probably less Jordans, and my rotation's gotten smaller. And like, honestly, I'm just buying way less shoes. 8 years ago, or, Welty's got a smile on
No,
his
he's the
face.
king of like, Brendan's would always ask, do I need this shoe? And it would just be like this like random like Vans or whatever. And you're like,
Yeah. And I'm so thankful to the people in Welty's. One of them, Zach the Basic, is one of them in my life who tell me, no, you don't need that shoe. Because, like I said, 2000, when I first moved to New York in 2012, I was just buying 6 pairs of shoes every month just because, And so I have a lot less random sneakers, Hirachi lights that I wore one time, or
like not like grail shoes that you meant to hold on to.
No,
These are
just
just like shoes that you're like, oh man,
random stuff. So I think that's the main thing for me, is not going away from a specific style, although maybe wearing less Jordans, but just wearing less sneakers, which sounds weird to say, but I think you know what I mean.
Okay, I get it.
I mean, we went to Malaysia and you brought 1 pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Reeboks?
Yeah. Left with 2, but.
Okay. Listen.
Came with 1, left with 2.
You know?
Sounds like good math.
Well, Oscar, thank you for that question. Sparked a good little convo, and you're getting the Off-White Air Maxes.
There you go.
Let's get to our guest.
Since his last appearance on our podcast, he's been behind some of the biggest collaborative releases of the last few years, including a Jordan 3 that we here at Complex ranked the best sneaker of 2021. Since then, he's spearheaded designs on a bunch of classic Silos, including the Jordan 1, Jordan 2, a pair of Nike Dunks, and the forthcoming Air Penny 1s that are under his social status umbrella. We're glad to have our friend James Whitner back on the podcast for the second time and in studio for the first time. Right off the bat, sometimes we forget about checking the shoes. We're starting right off the bat. You wore something special. What do you have on, James?
I'm on my Maniere Jordan 12.
Okay. Is this the unveiling?
The world premiere?
This is the world premiere.
We need a DJ drop or something.
Yeah,
Drop
for
some
real.
bombs on
A
this
flex
thing.
bomb. Yeah.
They have like wax laces on them, or
Yeah, it's wax laces. I mean, just all the details you would expect from us with I'm a Maniere, like always going through the library of what are the best materials that Jordan Brand has to offer. So this is one of those ones that we can't really talk about when or what, but it's something
Okay.
that we've been working on.
A little preview.
We appreciate we appreciate you bringing them here for us.
Yeah,
Not for us, but just for us to see.
Y'all have showed us love, like going all the way back to 2016. So you gotta always
Love that.
Always gotta come and show love back.
I feel like none of us have nearly as special
Nah.
sneakers, but let's talk about it.
Came through it. Let's start with you.
Welty, remind me what the shoe is called?
yours are the Adidas Supernova
Nova
Cushion 7.
Cushion 7, there we go. I like the shoe a lot. I think there's some cool projects for it coming up next year that we won't talk about just yet. But yeah, it's kind of a low-key Adidas sneaker that's floating around right now, and you'll see them on a sponsored post of mine coming up. So when you see that post,
Go like and
once
comment.
again, that's a running
Okay.
theme. Yeah,
Click the post.
Yeah.
exactly. We need the engagement.
All right. I'm doing the Comme des Garçons Nike Air Sunder Max.
What a Joe La Puma shoe.
You know, back in 1999, I think, I was wearing these in high school. Not these, but like the light blue ones. Yeah, I think it was like an outlet shoe. It's like a cult classic, but these are coming out, I think, in a couple days or a couple weeks. But I got these in the white and black colorway, which has just enough black in it that it's not an all-white shoe, so I'm down. Sunder Max, glad they're back.
JLP for the 99 and 2000.
Okay.
There we go.
From good friend Thomas Lindy at Hannon in Aberdeen, Scotland. These are the Hannon Adidas Race Walk EQTs.
Okay.
Hannon guys are great guys.
Yeah.
You ever been to Scotland?
No.
Me neither.
Oh, no, I'm lying. I have been to Scotland.
Before?
Yeah, to study abroad. I went to Edinburgh. So Edinburgh, like
Yeah.
Edinburgh, Scots, Edinburgh
Really?
in Scotland. So I actually studied abroad. That was my first international trip.
How did you
London
like
and
it out there?
Did you wear a kilt?
Yeah. Good one.
guy.
That was a good.
Eat a deep fried pizza?
No, I had deep fried pizza.
That's what they do in
They
Scotland?
like deep fry everything.
Really?
Really? I gotta
Yo,
go to Scotland.
it was. I mean, I was 18 years old, so but it was, it was the first time leaving Pittsburgh, so it was crazy.
How long were you out there for?
Like about a month.
Were you paying attention to sneakers at all when you were there? Like,
Yeah, of course, back then, yeah. But they didn't have anything that I felt like Europe didn't. I can't say anything. I don't want to say anything disparaging about UK, but I just felt like our shoe game at home was like a little more advanced.
It was like different stuff that you were into at the time.
Yeah, they had like weird Reeboks that I didn't. Back then, you said Cash Money for 99 and 2000.
Yeah.
My age is showing if I tell you. One of my cousins wanted me to bring Reeboks back.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
really? Some Reebok classics.
Yeah, my cousin Pete, he was in Reeboks at that time.
You didn't help Pete out?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. I brought him some back.
I love that.
You've been on the podcast. We said a couple years ago. It's crazy to say a couple years ago, but like time is like
Feels like it was a couple months ago.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to talk. Since then, we'll go back before getting to current stuff. But the Maniere Jordan 3, 2021 ended up #1 on our list and a bunch of other lists as the top sneaker of the year. How did that feel? Like, as someone who has obviously seen these lists for years and years, #1.
It's still crazy.
Yeah.
Like to you work your whole life for that one hit album, that your first album.
Yeah.
And
It's like
it
your
was
reasonable doubt.
Yeah. That's a very good comparison. Because it was that, like, working on that shoe was just so natural. It was just like all the things that you're supposed to do to a shoe. And you try to like go into each process that way, working with obviously some super talented teams. But what we learned from that shoe was keep it simple.
Yeah.
Like, you do not have to over design something to make it meaningful.
Because I feel like there were Maniere Jordans before that maybe, like the 6, where it was almost like you were.
Well, shoot, that wasn't social status. That was a release for us, for Jordan. That was a release,
It's like a SMU almost.
exclusive
Got
release,
it, got it.
exclusive release. So the first time we actually got to touch a shoe was the 3. Like,
Okay.
where we got a chance to sit down and inform design, and what we said was the Bible was the 3.
Got it.
Well, you had done shoes before that.
Yeah,
Like,
we done
you-
a Proto Max.
Yeah, or you had, just shoes in general.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
had like the Maniere Air Force Ones.
Yes,
You
yeah.
had like
yeah.
Diodoras,
Let
Reeboks, all
somebody
that.
outside of Nike ain't gonna kill me right
Adidas.
now. And of course, yes, but we had the AJ ones. AF ones, which is one of my favorite shoes.
Like
I feel like
those.
that shoe, that shoe didn't get the love that I always hoped.
But the
that it
materials
would.
on that were crazy.
Really good.
You know what?
Really
I feel
good.
like I don't know if people care a lot about Air Force Ones right now. I feel like we're in a weird era with the Air Force One for the past 4 years where I'm trying to figure out, like,
It's the 40th anniversary, and they're bringing back.
yeah,
all, like,
I feel like the Air Force One sits below the Dunk right now,
What do you think that is, though? Because I think the Air Force One, tried and true, right? It's everybody's go-to.
Yeah.
But I think young youth culture speaks to what happened. So the Dunk right now is the Dunk, and the AJ1 is the shoe.
Of course.
But what next?
It's very weird that the Air Force One, the colors like black and white, have become like memes in the past few years. Also, that's kind of
But that's what I'm
crazy.
saying.
Oh, white Air Force One meme.
White Air
black
Force Ones
meme,
being
yeah.
like dirty and cooked, and then it was like the black Air Force One meme for.
But it's almost
years.
like dunks at some point have, like, even though they've become like mass culture at this point, like panda dunks and all that sort of stuff, it's still kind of like remained in sneaker culture at some point. I'm not saying the Air Force One isn't within sneaker culture,
Still.
but like the white Air Force One, number one, you can't even buy them in stores anymore, and two, everyone who has it's like art school girls are wearing like cooked Air Force One, so it's almost like it got pushed out of like the cool sneaker space.
Although, like a fresh pair of white on white, still, even though I don't wear them,
No, for sure.
you can't
That-
beat it.
I
Can't
don't want
beat
to say
it.
that's still
Yeah.
not a thing, but
Yeah.
there's still like so much around the Air Force One at this point.
So let me ask y'all a question. So what's the next classic? Is it we're seeing the Airship pop up? We're starting to hear Mac Attack pop up. Where you see 550s with New Balance is obviously doing what they're doing.
I mean, 550s with New Balance. Are
Isn't
going
that crazy how that shoe all of a sudden like just
Crazy.
became like
It speaks to the power of culture, yo. And like, yo, shout out to Teddy. Like, you can't not like look at the dude's influence on our brand.
Yeah.
And just, I feel like everybody thinks about ALD, but if you know Teddy and just how cool that dude is and his demeanor, like, yo, what he's doing with that brand is in whole, and not let me the team,
Yeah.
New Balance
Sure.
team is super
Definitely.
dope too. Like, but yeah, that shit is crazy.
Yeah, that reference he pulled for that shoe was
Yeah.
crazy. Like, to bring it back, I heard it was like a reference from like an old pamphlet or something.
Yeah.
That like he was like, we should bring this back, and the rest is like history.
But to take it back 1 second to the Maniere Air Jordan 3. So our top 10 list, right? So you have Maniere, Air Jordan 3, number 1. Here's the shoes that you beat.
This is sneaker of the year from
Yeah.
Complex for
Good.
2020.
I like
Yes.
when we do this. Go ahead.
So number 2, Off-White Air Jordan 2 Low, white Chicago colorway. Number 3, Off-White Nike Dunk Low, the 50.
Okay.
Number 4, Fragment Travis Air Jordan 1 Highs. And number 5, Joe Freshgood 990 V3. Number 6, Trophy Room Air Jordan 1 High.
It was a good batch.
That was a.
You got number 1 in a year of, because we just did our mid-year list last week.
Wasn't as strong.
Wasn't as strong. We'll see how this year's list ends up, but that 1 through 6, tough list.
Yeah, I mean, and product. Like, yeah, I'm very curious to see how it evolves. And I try not to get, as much as it feels good to be at the top of the list, I swear I try not to think about the list, because you'll die trying to wait for
Right.
for the fans to say they love you. You got to do it for other reasons, or you'll be out here chasing bars at some point.
But I think, too, at the time, like, Joe Freshgoods had said, because his shoe was on the list, and he was on, I think, all of the lists at that year, when everyone's like, list doesn't matter, lists don't matter. But it's like, no, he's like, no, but I made the list this year. So he's like, stop telling me that lists don't matter the year that my shoe makes the list. Do you ever feel like that? Or
Yeah, I mean, you want your recognition, but I mean, I want like what Hiroshi and CDG and Supreme got. Like, that's
In terms of the Nike relationship.
or just longevity,
like
and
the
being able
legacy
to,
of it all?
the legacy, and just building a place, right? Like coming up the bat and having a meaning, and people trust you and go places with you, right? It's not just about creating on the dope stuff. It's just about being able to, like, you cross decades of being able to create and serve culture in a meaningful way. I want that. The list is important. The acknowledgement is important, but the longevity is the most important. So I'm like, yo, I just want to be in a conversation in 2050 and 2060 and 2070. You know what I'm saying?
How open is it to like long-term partnerships, or do you like, it'll be cliche to be like every design I treat it like my last, but like you're talking about a body of work with a brand, like with the Jordan, it seems like you're like really locked in and consistent with them. Is there like multi-year opportunities, like, for sure?
Well, the thing, less about multi-year opportunities. I think it's just more about equity and commitment. It's like being around for so long and like trying to build and like, yo, getting a fair opportunity to be able to work. Like, that's all you ask for. It's like, yo, just give me an opportunity to work and see what I got. But I think the commitment we've gotten from the brand is like, yo, we're going to do as good by you if you's done by us. So I think they're being insanely bold about the commitment to our partnership, and the length of it isn't something that we talk about. It's just about working meaningfully and continue to build culture. So if that means we work for 50 years or 60 years or whatever it means, but I can tell you this much: in the near term, it don't mean we slowing down.
It feels like right now among Nike and Jordan partners, social status and Maniere and the Whitaker Group, I guess, as the umbrella, is like one of the most prolific ones. Do you feel like that? Like, you have more projects than anybody else?
I don't know about the project because I don't know what anybody else is doing, but I can speak to the relationship. The support that we get from those teams, incredible, like second to none. Like the leadership teams, without calling names out, I don't want to be that guy.
Oh, damn,
But
I was going to call some names out.
No, I don't want to be the guy, but they make sure that they stand up for us. And if somebody doesn't understand why we're in the room, I think other people will walk in the room and make it very clear what our purpose for being in the room is. So it makes it a lot easier for us to be able to get after just doing good work and doing good work for the right reasons and just focusing on what we need to focus on.
When you talk about like the legacy and wanting to build out the brand, is having those 12s on almost more important to you now than the 3 being the sneaker of the year like 2 years ago?
Yep. The fact that I had to make a call this morning, say like, yo, I'm going to go see Joe. I want to wear the 12s. And they said like, yo, bro, stop asking for permission. This is what we expect from you.
Wow, that's dope.
Like, so it's me still learning to be in this space.
Was it Michael Jordan?
No, I wasn't.
Just got to check. We got to throw some names out here. You just got to check,
I can't even say what I was going to say next.
But that's great. Yeah.
But no, it was just like, yo, it's to your very, very, very good point. The fact that the 12s exist and the fact that we could think forward around like just wanting to like get your validation That's why you wear them.
I love that because it feels like back in the day it would be like, no, we have this rollout, or no, you can't break. And that the fact that it seems like you have leeway to do that, it's really good and probably rare, probably rare because back in the day it was like, people were coming to the office with like bags and NDAs that the like we were trying to shoot it for the magazine and
bags of shoes that you weren't allowed to talk about.
Yeah, and like the publicist would just like stand in the
like
photo
Nike's,
studio.
Nike's almost like, I don't know if they're getting ahead of, they want to get like ahead of the leaks because it was like
Makes sense.
2 months ago where like Dion from Concepts was wearing like those orange lobster dunks.
That's
like,
a good one.
And he was just like,
example,
hey,
too.
here they exist, like.
Man, and the thing is, like, I think they just value us different. Like, if you look at like what's happening in the world now, and I think you got to kind of embrace it. Like, would you have trusted us when we were like 10, 12 years ago? Like, some of us were a bit reckless. You know what I'm saying, right? Like, now 12 years later, we built meaningful businesses, and we're like, CEOs. Like, think of the owners of companies. You got James Jebbia, you got Ronnie, you got Eddie and James, you got Chris from Union, you got guys like Deontay and Matt from corporate. You got CEOs floating around everywhere. These guys are about their business. So you got to give them the leeway to represent the partnership in a meaningful way and trust them. Right. And again, I still made the call this morning, right?
Yeah.
So
Just to
like,
check, yeah.
Just like, just triple checking that I could do this. Right? That's great.
I want to say, like, to not those names specifically, you mentioned there's all these other, people who are building these businesses and they have these incredible, sneaker stores that are doing the culture in a way that the brands can't do it themselves. You know what I mean? I know that there's a friendship between everybody and there's a camaraderie, but I also know there's a competition that maybe when you're not in the same room, people don't speak about, that relationship the same way. Do you feel that competition? Because I feel like, in a way, the Whitaker Group and you specifically, like, people look at the projects you're doing and they're like, how can I do that? How come they get everything? You know what I mean? Do you feel that pressure at all from your peers, from your competitors in the space?
Well, it's interesting because what I like to say to my peers, we all drive the space. I still don't think we get everything. I'll say it again. Supreme exists. Comme Garçon exists. Undefeated exists. These are people that have been working with brands for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
We've been at this since 2020. It is 2022, right? So we're talking about 2 years against 20.
You're still at the beginning of the relationship.
Yes.
I feel like you have a target. I don't want to say target on your back, but I feel like they see the stuff that Social Status and Maniere does, and they're like, why do they get another look and I still haven't done a Nike shoe?
Well, I would say to them, continue doing the work. At some point, there's people who probably got text messages from me saying, keep leading, right? Keep setting the bar. And you know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm competitive, but I don't compete. Does that make sense? Like, I'm very competitive. Like, we work to be the best, but we set our intention on who we are and what we want to be and what our narrative is and what we want to talk about. Right. So the thing that's been refreshing about us is, like, it took me a minute to get my legs to to get comfortable in just being the hood dude. Right. Like, how are you the dude that come out the projects and it's, like, amongst all this sneaker cultureness, right? I had to embrace who I am and where I'm from and what I want to talk about and get comfortable talking about it and not just care what the rest of the industry was talking about. I'm not the cool guy. I'm just comfortable being cool.
But
does that make sense?
At the same time, too, I think, I don't want to say, like, right place, right time, but, like, Maniere being in Atlanta, and, like, Atlanta, like, basically, like, running hip-hop at this point, like, being, like, the center of the culture. Like, I feel like every time you shoot, like, a big rapper in the South, it's always, like, Maniere. Like, how much do you think that the rise of, like, culture in Atlanta has, like, played into, the growth of the business?
That was intentional.
Yeah.
Social Status existed, and we talked about this at some point. The story, I think, in 2016, like, in making, Maniere couldn't have existed without Atlanta. Like, the idea could only, I was sitting in Atlanta and was like, why doesn't this exist? And why is no one doing it? And I was like, well, I'm gonna just do it myself.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it 100%, the opportunity, I think, the years of experience, the fact that Social Status existed for X amount of time before Maniere gave Maniere the legs because I had credibility when I stepped in. And you're right. If without the music scene in Atlanta being what it is, the two things, and I mean, listen, Virgil, give him his flowers, Dunne, that whole, like, all of that happening at the same time as Maniere, 100%.
And when I shoot there, I love, even besides the talent we're shooting at Maniere, the employees are always like, so-and-so just came in, so-and-so just came in. I feel like Maniere really gave another alternative to like Lenox Mall.
Yes.
Because Lenox Mall is like, that's where everyone shopped, like
Yes.
in the city. And I feel like, and I even think with Maniere, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, taking even more of an apparel approach, even more than sneakers recently, because like the brands you stock there are super, super reputable.
Yeah, it's the sneaker business is. I mean, it's always been about apparel, right? Maniere exists because I want to get dressed. Like you want to like look like a nice adult. I think
Right.
I was listening to the show and you were like, yo, I don't really buy sneakers, and I was sitting there laughing because it's like, yo, as we get older, our rotation of sneakers is we may have like 15, 20 pairs of sneakers looking at us, but we pick up 3.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're younger, you're looking for differentiation. You trying to develop a look. Like our look is our look at this age. You master it, and you said it when you get shoe description. You wanted a shoe that's white that has sunblock, has some other color in
exactly.
it, right? Yeah.
What was it like having Shaq there for that episode?
He wasn't there.
Oh,
I wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Skip the Shack?
Man, listen, I
He
try
has
not to.
he has great employees and colleagues. They're always
He was meeting with the Nike execs.
Our team is good, and
Yeah.
and listen, man, it's I wouldn't say meeting with the Nike execs. What I will say is, again, every time you say Nike execs, I'll say I love them, and I appreciate the support.
one thing I want to talk about as it's super relevant. When we did the vice president, she did the Converse. Nina Chanel designed
Yes.
the Converse,
Yes.
and now we see
Yes.
a
She's
year,
doing the shoes
couple
now.
years later, the Jordan 2. And talk about like, your relationship with that. And we had the vice president on Sneaker Shopping. It was at your store, but I feel like you really made that story about Nina Chanel, and then to see her get the Jordan 2 and this Converse, start with the Converse and then get the Jordan 2. Pretty awesome.
Well, it's never about me. Being a connector is what keeps you out here, right? Like you gotta look to put other people on.
Right.
Hence the point when you said like everybody want a turn. It's never me getting in the way of getting somebody a turn. I'll happily open up, introduce, but at the end of the day, we all got to do the work. But to that end, like you start thinking about Kamala Harris, who at the time, with no disrespect to Joe Biden, we're all thinking in the back of our mind, she's going to be the president at some point, right? And so we're thinking about the opportunity, and I just felt like it'd be very impactful to have a woman representing it. So we need to kind of like step out the way and let Nina do her thing. She's so talented, and she has such a powerful voice and a medium that she speaks to the world in. So I just felt like it was the right thing to do, and it all worked out.
Definitely.
Did you hear about her getting the Jordan sneakers before everyone else? Like, were you pretty aware of that early on?
Yeah, I was aware. I was aware. Me and Nina talk a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder too, because it feels like there's a concerted effort from Jordan Brand, and it makes a lot of sense to do more to support Black-owned businesses and Black artists. It feels like they're skewing that way with the collaborators, and then also a few store owners have told me that, like, if you're a Black-owned store, then you might get better product allocations, or you might get some more love from Jordan Brand. Is there a calculated thing from Jordan Brand to support businesses in that way?
What I could say is they have a commitment that they've I think they've been very public about being the number
I think
one.
they announced it, right?
Yeah, being the number one streetwear brand, and also just standing up Black America, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that looks in their internal strategy, but I know they're looking at. I mean, how could you not look at parity in general in your business practices, right?
Right.
So I don't see allocation sheets, and so I can't say who's getting what, when, and how. But what I can say is I think they're making a conscious effort to make sure that they support everybody in a meaningful way equally.
Yeah.
And again, and think about this, man. MJ is MJ. You look at the leadership team over there, man. With that team, they've always been super keen on like, I wouldn't be who I am without Jordan Brand.
Sure.
Like Nike, like respect for the relationship opened us first, but everyone knows who knows our story knows it's we came in through Jordan. Nike now is super on point and doing everything they could possibly do to help us push forward. But we came through the door with Jordan Brand.
Yeah.
Has he taken you to any NASCAR races with him? No. I mean, you're in Charlotte.
Oh, but
MJ,
but
I don't know.
But there will be something interesting that we can come talk about in a few once basketball season starts again.
Okay.
I'll drop a hint.
Does he have a favorite collab of yours that he mentioned? No?
I mean, he's dialed in. He's dialed in that way. But I think Marcus gets the Brit of the good and the bad more than I do. So I think that's a good Marcus. That's a good Marcus question.
I don't know if Marcus will ever talk to us again, unfortunately.
Yeah, man, y'all drug him.
I hope.
Man.
Did we?
Y'all drug my boy. I'm staying off of that subject.
Come on.
I'm staying off of that one. I'm staying
anything?
off of that one. No, I'm staying away from it.
Let me ask you this. Do you watch how the internet reacts to sneaker releases and how they there's this thing now where every release that comes, there are people who are going to grade how the stores handled it and whether or not the shoes were distributed in an equitable manner. Mm-hmm. And the Marcus Jordan story, we all know it. It's infamous now. Everybody believes that the shoes were backdoored. I do as well. You know, he's limited his comments to us on that. Do you feel like those reactions that you've seen around your store are fair? You know, do you feel like you guys get dragged with respect to how the shoes get released?
I don't think nobody has a better release process than me. You can put us up against anybody. And I shouldn't say me, I should say us. Cav, the way Cav runs our releases, the way they sit there and go through, like, yo, it's a team of people that spends way more time and money. We spend $500,000 a launch.
So if you have a Jordan brand project?
We can't launch Nike, Jordan, anything that's a project. We don't launch it. It costs $500,000 to hold bots out for 4 minutes.
So it's not even like I've heard that in the past too, where it was like, you know, you'd hear stories about, you know, like maybe like Kith drops an Asics, and it's like the amount of effort and time that goes into like that one release doesn't even like fund the store. It's just like marketing for the business.
For 4 minutes to get, man, it's like, yo, bots and technology, they can break the internet faster than we can fix it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But for us to, like, I just laugh, like, because for those first 4 minutes that you got on our site, you got 4. After that, if it lasts more than 4, then we got a bigger issue anyway, right? But I think
You mean if the bot attacks last more than 4 minutes?
Or the product not selling.
No, I see. Yeah.
Usually the product is gone in a minute because people get in line. And once they're queued and in line, unless they do something crazy like hit refresh or X out the screen, they're in line and it takes their queue. So it populates the shoes. I don't know at what point, you know, I'm not a coder, so at what point they pick their sides, but they're allocated something at some point in that process. So after 4 minutes, bots can't get in, but the shoes are usually gone at that point.
Are you, like, how dialed in are you on those days? Are you in a war room with 50 computer screens?
Man, shout out to our team. Most importantly, shout out to Cav. Cav, like, yo, our team is incredible. Mark, Cav, like, I just had to show up. Cav, when it comes to releases, like, yo, Cav got a team, and our team is around them, and they lock it up, and Wes and Chris, they dial in, they go in, make sure that we allocate raffle, we allocate web, people win, all the shoes go to people, and most importantly, nobody ends up on the internet with a room full of shoes taking a picture in front of it.
True.
We talked about the 3s, you know, you have the 12s on, you had the 1s and 2s in between that. Like, what were those like for you?
You know what? It's all a part of a bigger journey. Like, first and foremost, I acknowledge how crazy this all is, right? But the bigger, like I'm thinking about other crazy shit, like the kid getting shot like 60 times. I'm thinking about, like, yo, what do I do with this to get to that, right? Like, I woke up this morning, the first thing I seen is, you know, the damn cookies and what you look at on the internet. It's Sandra Bland cussing the cop out, and I'm thinking it's new. And it hit me. I'm like, that's the kind of stuff. I'm thinking about how what we do affects everything else. So I don't spend much time thinking about the product per se. I think about what the product can affect. Does that make sense? Like, I could tell you back in, like, we're talking about Penny, right?
Yeah.
Right now, it's like what we're socializing mostly with social status. And it was really about telling a recess story in that journey with those kids, right? And continuing to tell that story. Later this year, we'll talk a lot about the voice of kids, right? And how racism isn't, you're not born racist, right? And kids form an opinion, and the opinion they form will shape the world. That's one story we're gonna tell. The other story we're gonna tell is through women's rights. The product just gives us the ability to get people's eyes on a story and what we want to talk about.
An entry point.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So from a product perspective, like, yeah, it's dope as hell to be able to walk around in the 12s and this and that, but if we was just selling shoes, I don't know, you know, like, let's keep it honest. Like,
Do you worry that the message doesn't come across? Like, do you care if somebody's wearing a Jordan 3 that you designed and they never saw the campaign around it, or they don't necessarily understand, in that instance, it's about being raised by women. Like, do you worry about the message not translating or not sticking around?
100%. That's why we spend a lot of time on the message.
Yeah.
I think we try to dig so deep in the stories that you would have to be blind, deaf, or dumb not to get it.
Yeah.
Right?
But if you buy it off eBay 4 months later, it's like sometimes the context isn't there,
But do you think, and hold me accountable, do y'all really think people didn't get that shoe? Do you think it went over anybody's head?
Sorry, you mean physically get it or didn't get the message?
The story.
Didn't get the story.
No, I think it's there. I mean, I don't know. We exist in a bubble where we examine every story around every sneaker, so it's hard to say.
Not every person is going to get the story, but if you go
fair.
super, super hard on the storytelling, even if you're...
It's like hard to miss it, right?
Well, even if you're converting, like, there's so many sneakers that just come out on the... they're limited, you get them, but, like, when you go super hard on the storytelling, there's more of a chance to, like, of a conversion rate of people actually getting the story.
Yeah, and the stories for social status and I'm a year look different. You can't miss free lunch. You can't miss it to look at the box.
Yeah.
Recess, you won't be able to miss that when you see the story in the box. The baseball check being removable on a shoe is not a part of the design. It's a part of the story. So you have to pull it off to realize that the rest of the checks in there are other bags, other balls that you would use a recess, right? So it's connected to the product in a meaningful way. The Maniere product isn't connected that way because it's a bit more mature, but it's built. The messaging's built into it, so you get it.
Yeah.
Talking about the pennies, let's before we like really dive into this collab, but talk about like his sneaker history and such. So like I think it's maybe properly rated, but also underrated.
I think it's a little underrated.
We always talk about, we make the joke that like when I was playing basketball, like I got out for practice in, I think, middle school. I got the Youth XL penny jersey because it was cheaper than the men's small with the little letters. But like I got penny ones and I like showed up to practice and like his line and like what he did and his sneaker history is just, I think it is a little underrated. And how was it like getting a chance on one of his silos?
Incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Penny. Like think about what we know him to be. Like most kids ain't examining what MJ done on the court first, right? Then you got Ja talking about he'll cook MJ. And I'm
Saw
like,
that? Yeah, you saw that?
I love Ja.
Yeah.
But come on, man.
What about yesterday where Ray Allen said that LeBron's not the GOAT?
MJ's the GOAT. Let's start there.
Okay.
You gotta listen. LeBron's legacy is second to MJ, probably. Right? You don't go to as many finals. So I mean, the fact that MJ lives or played makes him not the GOAT. So he's right. I mean, that the conversation kind of ends there. If LeBron pulls off 3, 4, 5 more chips, that means he would have to pull them off in consecutive years. We could have a different conversation.
Old,
If LeBron wins a couple more chips, going in 3, 4 more, we could have a different conversation. The likelihood of that, and the likelihood of that without a trade. Right? MJ played for one team.
Yeah.
Would you get a phone call right now if you said that MJ wasn't the GOAT?
Right now, like Jordan somehow has to stream like from the audio.
Hey, you're not worried about the 12s, but listen, we have something to talk about.
He ain't watching Complex.
Oh my God, this is devastating.
Mark that. We're taking that out. Mark that.
Is this because of what we said about Marcus?
No, timestamp that.
Listen, man.
damn, this is
listen, and coming back to Marcus, he gonna come back and make everybody eat his words, man. Marcus,
really?
Yes, man. Get out, watch that boy, man.
Let's go.
I hope so.
Watch that boy.
Let's
He's
go.
gonna
Talk
come
to
back.
him.
Marcus is gonna come back, and everybody's gonna have to sing his praises. Watch it.
I hope so.
Watch it.
But what about Michael Jordan not watching Complex?
Don't put that narrative out there.
Listen.
Blow to our credibility.
First and foremost, man.
over.
Like, listen.
It's a wrap. It's a fucking wrap.
But no, man. I wouldn't get a call. It's LeBron said MJ's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Like who? How could you? Hey, listen, man. The fierce go back to Ja's point, right? Yes, people are more athletic. I think this is a much more skilled game, less physical, but the game then was more mental. And when it comes down to winning championships, joining super teams to win a chip, to me, that ain't a thing.
You also weren't getting clotheslined by Bill Lambier back in the
Yeah,
day.
like
He's going to turn this into JJ Redick over here is going to turn this into an athletic debate.
yeah. But
not.
at the end of the day, mental toughness, man. MJ won. At the end of the last shot is a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like constantly, the last shot is a thing. So with that said, I'm a rat with MJ.
But Penny sneaker history. I know we went a little, but Penny. So, working on someone who had someone's signature shoe, someone as like reputable as Penny. Is this something that you had in mind from years, like, or what?
No, it was talking about like, yo, what's important to us, right? Like, and like, yo, retro. We all talk about what basketball meant, and our basketball was like. You wore jeans, but you had shorts under them because you peeled your jeans off.
Ready to pull up.
Anytime you could pull up and start playing, like we could go now. Penny embodied that. And then you talking about like a Penny one. So when people are like, yo, why did y'all work on something so close to the OG? Like, yo, bro, who says no to working on something close to an OG? Like anybody who know this, like.
Still going to do it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Like we're going to work on it and tell our story through it. And we're going to have to get kids to understand, yo, 6-7 point guards that played how he played and moved how he moved didn't exist in our day that way. Like, yo, and then the 1, the 2, the phone, like, come on, man. It's classics.
You can do a phone?
What I would say is the foam is probably one of sneaker culture's most important shoes.
I agree.
Certainly. And I feel like the foam is a little on a downturn too right now. I feel like people aren't checking for foams a lot right now.
I don't know if people aren't checking for them or if the world is just ready to receive them differently again. I mean, listen, you guys are smart. You pay attention to the writing on the wall. If you see less foams, y'all can dig and figure out why y'all see less foams. Y'all been doing this long enough. But I think if you look up, y'all know the drill.
Besides the Penny
And the foams.
is there a classic basketball sneaker you want to get your turn
Classic basketball
on, or someone else's signature shoe?
You know what? The shoe that I wanted to touch that was important just to me, the KD4.
Okay.
I wanted to touch. LeBron had a hell of a run, and at some point,
You just said he's not the GOAT, so that's out the window.
listen, LeBron will respect
KD4.
if MJ's ahead of him. We can have
Don't
conversations.
tell me, tell him.
We can have
Look at the camera.
we can have conversations past MJ. Take MJ.
Sure, yeah.
Take MJ out the conversation, and then it opens up. Like LeBron comes to the top of the conversation. But I think all of the original Force. If you go back to all the original Force campaigns and commercials, to me, that generation of models has to be treated with white gloves. The glove, the Rodman, Barkley, and Barkley's importance in the basketball franchise. And so many of these models that just get thrown around like they didn't help build up signature basketball and what it is and what it means today. Like there would be no Ja, no Curry, David Robinson. Like think about all those 84 to 95 basketball players.
And how much that meant for Nike as a whole.
That's what Nike was built on. So if we don't start putting white gloves on and starting to treat that era of basketball with a level of respect, then we're never going to see basketball in and of itself be as meaningful as it should be, because that's as connected to our culture as the dunk and the Jordan 1 through 14. The Jordan 1 through 14 dropped in parallel with the glove and the fucking this. And
You can't have one without the other.
Yeah, all the things go together.
As a quick aside, we need Barkley in Atlanta. That's who we need. We need to collab. I think you can make it happen.
That's
What,
a
for
good
sneaker
one.
shopping?
We need
Yes.
That's who we need.
And Barkley's
TNT is in Atlanta.
Yes, and Barkley's personality. Like,
We
hold
need
on,
him.
think about this. The fact
We
that
need
you
him.
got Barkley and Shaq
That's
on
who
a
we
show
need.
together.
Exactly.
Like, yo.
That's who we need in Maniere. We'll talk
Well,
after.
would you show up for the Barkley episode instead of the Shaq?
I got it. I mean, listen, Shaq. I'm
already
coming to
Look,
see
he
you,
wants
Shaq.
to pit everyone against each other. That's his thing.
Listen, I'm a basketball fan, so yo, Shaq, how could you not be a Shaq fan, yo?
He was great.
And I don't want to fan out. You can't like
was
show up
great.
to like, yo, Joe, can I
Yeah, right.
can I come
Dude,
speak to Shaq? like,
no,
like
nah.
how's that supposed to happen?
Go around. Yeah, that's who we need though. Maybe in the fall.
Yeah, Barkley's a good call.
We're gonna work on that.
The CB2 94 or the Godzilla?
Honestly, there's so many good Barkley shoes.
I think people forget how many shoes he had.
Barkley had a ton of shoes.
Bro.
Barkley probably has. If we know obviously with the ones that Jordan played in 1 through 14,
Right.
and somebody can check me. How many Barkley shoes are there from the Force with the strap to the?
Oh, the Alpha Force with the
Yeah, like
with
if you
the
go all the way
Liberty Bell
back,
on the
how many
side.
are there? A lot.
A lot.
Yeah, so I think I would love for somebody to do something with that. It ain't got to be me. It could be
Me?
like yo,
Brendan
like,
Dunne?
No.
It's
Okay,
not gonna be me.
Oh, I'm gonna flip.
He pointed to me. I
No,
love that.
no. I'm gonna go to you. Okay.
Their games
okay.
kinda
So,
mimic-
so who else?
But I know nothing about basketball. just
No.
so you know.
Okay,
he's gonna
I'm
ask.
flipping to retail. Who else would you like to see who's not getting shouts right now?
Mm-hmm.
Who else would you like to see have an opportunity to work with brands? I know who's top of mind for me, but you said people are looking at me saying like, oh dang, I want to get a shot. Okay.
Well, I don't want to say it because then.
No, you gotta say it. You gotta say it. You put people on the spot. You hot seat.
Which retailer do I think should
Yeah.
get a look
No, not one. You can name as many as you want.
with Nike?
Yeah.
Are we talking Barkley or just in general?
In general, anything.
My guy Joe at Oneness. You know, I want to see him do a Nike project.
I love Joe.
So you agree?
I love Joe. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
James from the Whitaker Group. I
Yeah.
don't get any say in this.
Who else?
Matt from corporate on a Jordan 4.
Matt from corporate.
He's
listen.
lovely.
The way
On a
it's
Jordan
the
4?
way.
He told me the longest story ever about how he got to do like a Chris Paul shoe, and it was
Matt
Listen.
from corporate on a Jordan 4.
Like Matt. Listen, Matt deserves a shot. Joe deserves a shot. Listen, I know it ain't no such thing as shots for everybody. But like, yo, these is dudes that they pay, they respect. And
maybe,
I'm
finally give Derek a Nike shoe as well.
man, you
Sneaker
know,
politics? Yeah.
Listen, Derek is my guy. Deontay from Soul Classics, and
Yeah.
that's my guy.
Yeah, we love Deontay.
Yeah, Deontay's a good dude. Yeah, man, I think there's enough space, and I think the team at Nike and Jordan understand how impactful it is to be able to work with them. And I think it's something that they look to solve for because, I mean, the thing that I know is that team doesn't want to look that they're leveraging us. But the thing that I want to make clear is it ain't got to be James or
Right.
Ronnie or Supreme or. There's enough space in the world for us all to meaningfully exist.
Do you ever feel like sometimes, and I know Brendan, we spoke about this in like the past year or so, where there was like a few like retailer collaborations where it feels like the retailers had to pull out all the stops to make the shoes like important. Like you saw how like when Concepts did all like the Air Max ones, like how much like videos and
Yeah.
stuff that they had to make. I know you've had to do that as well. Is that like something that you just felt the need to do to tell the story, or do you also felt like you needed to prove your worth to the brand a little bit by like putting all your effort into the collaboration?
It's less. I think honestly, we're so invested in the work we're doing. We don't even have to talk to the brand. We do out of respect to understand, so we align. But I think for us specifically, you're talking about people who just got pride in their brands. Nike and Jordan aren't holding guns to people's heads saying, you better do this if you want to work with us. That doesn't happen. It's about people who are really passionate about the work they're doing. Like y'all sat with Dion.
Yeah.
Like that dude is
Definitely.
like he's on Mars.
Yeah.
Like we all care about something. We all care about something differently. And I think what they do as partners is channel into our individual passions and help fuel them. Right. So what I would say to those people is like, yo, keep caring about what you care about, and the opportunity to talk about what you care about will show itself. Right. But we all got to be uniquely ourselves.
Sure.
I can't try to swerve into Supreme's lane or swerve into Undefeated's lane to get a look that like, yo, I need to stay in my lane and focus on doing exactly what I'm doing and what my superpower is. And if when it's time to connect to that, people will knock on your door. So we all get our shot is what I believe.
I will say though that you guys did the penny better than Supreme did the Jason Kidd shoe.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely that.
Why now let me ask this question. In which ways?
It felt like you paid like homage to the original shoe, like it seemed like you had like a better understanding of why that shoe was important and your connection to that shoe, rather than just taking something that was like streetwear, like flavor of the month, and tossing it on kind of an unexpected sneaker.
Yeah, it's the whole tourist and purist conversation that I think we're starting to hear, and what I think your feedback is super purist, right? And mine's too, right? Like there's a certain homage that you need to pay to guys, whereas where I get, I don't want to ever make it seem like I'm about to take a shot at somebody, but you got to respect, like it's Jason Kidd, Joe. It goes back. I have so much respect for that era of like, so just dressing it up.
Yeah.
And then I think the bandana thing was on it. So that's a sensitive spot for me.
Yeah.
Like anything, I got friends that died about that shit. So it's tough. When I see that on shoes, I'm like, I ain't gonna play that game.
And like, what does that have to do with Jason Kidd? You
Yeah.
know, and like,
Yeah.
It almost like
basketball, like,
obfuscates like the meaning of the shoe, like at all. Like
Yeah.
you almost forget that it's even Jason Kidd's sneaker.
It opens up the conversation about culture vulture a little more when you start putting stuff like Supreme Team and bandanas on it, because like, yo, there's people who ain't around here no more. There's people who got life imprisonment. There's neighborhoods that was turned and lives that was lost about things that people joke and kid about. And when you really come from that, you just feel a way about it. And we don't always get this seat to say like, yo, don't do that. Like, don't play with that. Like, it's you playing with something that's so delicate and so close to life or death for commerce. Like, yo, and if you are gonna do that, I hope you speak into that community and that family in a unique, in those families in a unique way, without just putting Supreme Team on something, without really understanding the consequences or repercussions that come behind that.
Do you feel like that a lot
Hell yeah.
every day?
and sneakers.
It's just because there's just rules that like they just apply to you naturally, because they're the way we was brought up. Like, yo, you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this, and you're told to not do those things. The life and death consequences. If you go to certain places on the West Coast where they still banging and they still, you know,
Right.
and they still on it about colors, and you got a blue T-shirt on, and they tell you not to wear it because something gonna happen to you, you're gonna take it off, right? So why you feel so comfortable putting that on a sneaker? Like what are you doing?
Right.
Like there's certain things like as athletes and people who that lead culture, they just want the bars. So they want the validation. They want the look.
The IG
so they
post.
willing to, you know, throw up sets and do this. Like, yo, don't do that. Like I get the bars but like, yo, not that. And again, I got a unique position because I'm from where I'm from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking it back to sneakers for a second, we've talked about all the planning that goes into your projects and, you know, how far ahead you have to think about these things. How much harder is all of that right now because of supply chain issues? Like, how hard is it to sell sneakers, to get sneakers to America right now, to know what fucking boat they're on and things like that? Is the game still super twisted right now?
Okay, well, shout out to the brands, right? Like they do a masterful job of juggling the balls, like respectfully. I can't act like we gotta handle any of that.
Yeah.
The penny was supposed to be
Really?
a thing. Like everything is running late. There's no mystery. We just all are beating to the same drums, but they do it with grace, yo. Like you think about, and they never make it at least about us, right? Like you hear stories where people say wild stuff, and that's just haven't been my experience. Now, and I do realize I'm in a bit of a privileged place now, right? So my experience is a bit different, but yo, it's tough. It's tough for our business,
Right.
when you get shoes like fucking broken up, 200 pairs this month, 200 pairs 60 days later.
Yeah.
And, you know, you still got to get them out. But luckily, sneakers are still piping hot. So when they come through, they sell out.
Yeah.
Right. But what about people who can't pay their bills or are dependent on that money
Sure.
to cash flow their business?
You already paid all the money, you know,
Well,
futures orders.
in footwear brands, you're not. They're not charging you until you ship. So
Okay.
really, it's how you're flowing your business. If you depended on those deliveries from this month to ship,
Right.
to
Have that
you're-
revenue.
Yeah, you really need the profit from those whatever releases from that month to cash flow your bills. you're in a bit of a tight spot. And I've been there before, right? Like I've been in a place like where you calculate, like, oh, yo, we need the cash flow from this month and this shoe so we can get these orders in. And if those get delayed, you got to have a difficult conversation with somebody.
In what is it like too then when you have something like, like a Travis shoe that got delayed for reasons that aren't, supply chain related, but that's like guaranteed revenue into your business.
Well, somebody got to give. That's where you got to give the brands credit because they had to sit there long enough to say if they were going to burn it or just wait, right? And I won't, the Travis thing was incredibly difficult for the families.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right? The companies, Travis, all parties involved. It was horrible. But yeah, that's one where you just kind of, it's a cost of doing business, right? Everybody always talks about what happens when somebody makes a mistake on something and it's your team's fault. Like nothing you could do. Everybody talks about the money that's made from footwear. Nobody's talking about the shoes that got to get burnt for whatever reason. And that happens more times than what anybody ever talks about.
It's such a crazy, this thing to think of that there are, mistakes that happen in production or times when a brand decides they can't put something out. I'm always so interested in this. And the idea that there's a place where legitimate shoes are just shredded or destroyed.
Yeah, there's leaders that I know personally that see something on a shoe that they don't stand for. They burning it. They'll stop
10,000 pairs of shoes, 20,000.
10, 20, 100, 200. If
Really?
it's against their principles. In the last 2 years, hell yes.
Interesting.
I could definitely speak to the footwear leaders at Nike. Ain't
Any
playing them
particular
games.
shoes?
I won't call none out because I mean, there's ones that I know, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah.
But I can speak to knowing that they hit the button and said, like, yo, this goes against the principles of what we stand for.
Yeah.
Or even like a shoe that was like, I guess, publicly known. It was like a shoe with like, like Puerto Rico Air Force Ones where they put the flag backwards on the shoe. So they're just like, we're not going to release it now.
Very good example.
Or Betsy Ross Air Max ones.
Very good examples. When you start thinking about shoes like that, if that sample got out there, that means production is probably sitting in some warehouse somewhere, right? Them shoes just don't show up in another country. The global marketplace is flat. We would see it.
Yeah.
Them shoes is burnt. That's money lost.
It's a big investment.
Yeah, it's part of the game, though, right?
Yeah.
Do you ever, I don't just want to say sympathize, but then when you talk about, the supply chain issues and people not getting the product, do you ever like maybe put yourself in someone else's shoes where a store owner who may be behind on his bills would feel the need to like backdoor those shoes that Nike's like, you need to send this back, but
I've had very candid conversations about the need for some stores to backdoor pairs. If you need, I'm not about to tell nobody who's late on their rent not to do what they got to do to make your rent. Like
Sell something for over retail.
Your first responsibility is to making sure you have to take care of your family. Now, if they've put themselves in that position based on something they done, yeah, then that's one thing. But I mean, if the market is recessions happening, delays is happening, they're really doing the right things. And the difference is like, yo, I'm gonna sell these 3 pairs of shoes to make this extra $1,800 because this is gonna get me past my month. Man, you better sell them shoes, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing I would say is, if you start to look at what's happening, like Panda Dunk, somebody said earlier, we've seen the Panda Dunk restock a number of times, right? There's also a way to just generally put more product in the marketplace to help kids have access to shoes that they
I feel like
want.
the brands are intentionally holding back on it, or
No, I think we're seeing now. The conversations that I'm having is they want parity in the marketplace. They want the shoes on kids' feet. They don't want to continue to see resale like these crazy resale numbers. Is like, yo, I'm trying to make our shoes accessible.
Yeah.
We're not paying money to fight bots for a reason. I want our, that's another reason why the 3 gets the flowers it gets.
Because it was relatively accessible. It was special, but it was, that
People
balance.
wore them.
Yeah.
The ones people wear them. You see them on people's feet because humans bought them. When a shoe comes in a marketplace and somebody got 1,000 pairs of them and the shoe is $1,000 on StockX, you know what that means?
it's like
Nobody's
10.
wearing them.
That means it's commerce happening. The reseller paid, a majority of the resellers paid over $1,000.
Yeah.
So the shoe has to be benchmarked at $1,000.
Right. I'm not going to take a loss on that.
Yeah. So, and if they do, it's going to be 99. It's going to be recouped.
Right.
And it's different when you see a shoe come in the market at $300, and then you look 4 years later and you watched it go like this.
It's just because people wanted it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
Because we had that conversation on like earlier where it was a shoe like the Pata Air Max 1s, you know, where it's like, it feel like you were talking about your 3, but it also felt like the Pata Air Max 1s were a shoe that a lot of people got last year, and you saw everyone wearing it. But the trajectory of the shoe went like boom, 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 because you actually see it exist in the real world. It's not like Chunky Dunkies where it's like nobody actually has that sneaker, you know? But now the resale value on that, it used to be $300, and now you see it like $500, $600, $700 for that shoe because more people want it because they see people wearing it. You know?
And that's where the market having its effect. It's much better than shoes being $1,000 on day one.
Right.
If a shoe is $1,000 on day one, nobody got the damn shoe. Was it really launched? Did it actually really exist?
You mean like the trophy room Jordan one? I had to. It was too easy. I had to. It was too easy.
What I'm gonna say?
You set me up. You set me up.
I'm gonna say is we gonna sit. I'm gonna come on the show with Marcus when y'all giving him his flowers. I'm gonna sit right here with him.
That was too easy. I had to take that one.
Listen, all right. I'm telling you, watch the comeback though. Watch the comeback.
I'm ready.
I will tell you though, for Christmas one year when we had Marcus on the show, my parents, they put it in a stocking. There's a picture of me and Marcus doing like the
handshake.
meme.
Yeah.
And it's like a little picture like this with like a plastic case. I have a picture of,
In your wall of fame at home?
it's sitting on my dresser. A picture of me and Marcus Jordan dapping each other up.
Yo, Marcus is a great dude, man. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be redemption.
You guys met Barack Obama together?
Yes. That was all him too.
Was that you went golfing?
I don't golf. I watch them golf.
Okay. Mini golf? Were you doing mini golf?
Oh, I do. I'll putt, mini
love
golf.
mini golf.
It's too intense when you play with people who they
put
can
their
play,
time into
and
it,
They put their time into it.
You're gonna put like the lease of a store like on this one hole, and you're like, now MJ owns Alma Maniere in Atlanta.
Now you're really Jordan family.
say I got to send him a mortgage check.
So, the Penny One's coming very soon.
Yeah, Penny Ones is this upcoming week. What y'all think?
I like them.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
It's not my favorite. Not to diss you, but just to be honest, you know.
I like the Penny.
I kind of had the reaction of I wish it was more different from like an OG style colorway.
Yeah.
But I like to hear the thing about the baseball stitch, you know, and like the switching the swooshes, you know, it endears me to them a bit more.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that I hate about leaks.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance to get your story off. When you're us, when you said like, hey, is that pushing you? Like, no, we think about these stories, the teams, everybody's invested in the story. So when a product leaks without context of why it is this way, it gives you the ability to form an opinion without us like going in and romancing you. Like you're the person I want to romance. I want you to be fixed on the screen, and I want you to like go through, get your pair early and go through the unboxing experience and be like, oh shit, this is the basketball, this is this. Yeah. And then you get it more, right? That's the problem with the game. But, you know, welcome to the internet.
And I like the OG. I like similar to the OG with a twist. So
yeah,
I'm into them.
There's one last James Whitner story I want to tell before we get out of here. And I'm not going to name any names because it's not about bringing up old stuff. But the moment I realized how passionate you were about this, and hopefully you remember this, but we had a phone call maybe 6 years ago. And again, it's not about, you know, bringing up old stuff, but some artists, some musicians came into one of your stores and they were unhappy with the customer service.
Can you do the ad-lib?
No, we're not, you know.
Wait, this story was been told.
It is
Yeah,
been
you're
told.
not hiding anything.
I don't want to. Anyways, and there was a situation where they felt like they didn't get the access to the shoes that maybe they should have because the people at the store were selling them to the kids that were in line. And I will always remember how passionate you were in that phone call to me, you know, just saying like, look, this isn't about servicing famous people or the people who, you know, people who we all respect, you know, it's like that's not what this is about. And I can't remember exactly what you said, but I will always remember.
The kids keep us in business.
Yeah.
Like without those kids, we ain't in business. Like we got to be able to, we got to be on their block every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and when you on
D
somebody's block every day, it's
Said
like
on T block.
It's like it's like the corner bodega, right? Mm-hmm. Like you gotta respect what's in your neighborhood, and you gotta respect the people that's in it too. And we gotta build each other up.
Yeah.
And you know, like that story, that passion has shown itself. Because at that time, what was that?
I hope the story wasn't too vague. I hope it's still connected.
They told it on FSR.
No, it was one of those things where there's always an expectation that people expect to be able to get product early because of their status, right?
Their social status.
Yeah.
But for us, Like, yo, the kids eat first.
Yeah.
It could have been on a versus stage. Who knows?
Y'all instigators.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Listen, it's the part that's funny about this. I get it.
Listen, all kidding aside, been a great few years. Congratulations. Penny one's coming. Can't wait to see what's next. Well, maybe we see what's next.
Maybe.
One promise you got to keep. You got to get MJ to watch this. MJ got to like and subscribe to this.
MJ on sneaker shopping?
Maybe.
M meaning Marcus or Michael?
Maybe. Either.
Shit, the Marcus one we could do.
Shout out to Marcus. Thank you so much for taking the time. And, again, congratulations on all the success and this run that you're on.
No, thank you guys for having me, man. And I appreciate the support always.
Thank you, James.
Thanks, James.
This has been the Complex Sneakers Podcast. We hope everyone has a great weekend. Please like, subscribe. We will see you next week.